want to be optimistic. But, like talk about the issue of resilience, right? Like thinking about resilience for teachers, because I'm very optimistic when I'm working with undergraduates and we're doing this kind of work together. I mean, it makes me think about the labels. Sometimes, like we have to learn together. Sometimes labels are instrumental because they're your only way to get kids access to a resource. You never have to believe the label. You can always see it as instrumental, right? And we can see how these young teachers are like, be advocates for kids, and they're not going to send them down the hallway unless they really trust their leadership. You can see that happen, but we know what happens over time. So that's kind of, and this goes to funding too. That's kind of these long-term collaborations where we most want to have that at pre-service teacher education, that kind of support and integration of these kinds of approaches into learning to be a teacher, and then be able to continue to work together with teachers in buildings to sustain in these ways. But that very rarely happens. So that's my mixed.
We have a question, one more question, and let's this young man right here.
Hi everyone, Mateus Baptista, Office of the Mayor. And a question, so sort of framing the question a bit, what you talked about, how do you, Dr. Dutro, you talked about the system is damaged, right? Systems are damaged, not people, and reframing that debate. And I think it's important to, in that, really talk about how the politics of rights, access to mental health care is a right. And the moment we make that a means to an end, be it a park score or something else, I think we've lost half the battle, right? So framing that in the politics of rights, I think, is important. What are other ways that we, change that damaged system in the way you framed it?
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, I would point to what you said as absolutely crucial. I mean, it is this kind of reframing work that is going on so beautifully, actually, in both of your contexts. It's hard to know, like, how hopeful we can be around kind of activist approaches to changing systems, but I do think, I'll point to one movement. It was big in Colorado, and I think it was in other parts of the country, and that was the opt-out movement around standardized assessment. Now that started in more privileged schools. Makes sense, right? Because the stakes are lower. But it did end up in our state spreading across schools, and that just put a pointed finger at the myth of standardized assessments. To have, like in a district like Boulder Valley District in Colorado, there were schools where of, say, 500 kids, 488 of them opted out of the standardized assessment. So the percentages were really high. So that's just one example, but I do think it takes grassroots community organizing and activist approaches to get at some of these issues.
I'm going to give a shout out to the Freedom School movement as well. It's been around for quite a long time, but the outcomes have been tremendous. It's a Center for Children's Defense Fund program, Marion Wright Edelman, and it's beginning to reinvigorate itself because the public school districts are not succeeding. So that might be a model that the public school could use, and it doesn't require a lot of money. This training of teachers, how to be upwardly positive thinking in terms of how they treat their children. So on that, we're going to thank our panelists for
Folks, we have a change of venue for lunch. I'm going to encourage you all to, we're going to try to, this is a public building, so I cannot guarantee the safety of everyone's belongings unless they are with them. We will try very hard to keep this room watched, but we have a limited staff. We are going downstairs to the atrium, which you can access actually by these stairs. You'll see, if you just look over into the pit, you'll see the tables where you'll be sitting at lunch and where you'll hear Susan Cole's keynote address. That will start after we eat for about 15, 20 minutes. So just out the doorway here and then down the stairs, I think there's a table where you can pick up food. I think you can sit wherever you like, and we'll begin the keynote at about 1 o'clock.